The squared circle erupted in absolute chaos on November 12, 2025, as WWE Evolve delivered a night that left the wrestling world buzzing with anticipation and shock. What unfolded inside that ring wasn't just another wrestling show but a carefully orchestrated symphony of athleticism, drama, and unexpected twists that had fans jumping out of their seats from the opening bell to the final 3 count. If you're ready to dive deep into every bone-crushing moment and jaw-dropping revelation from this incredible episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you won't want to miss a single update on the hottest wrestling action. The show kicked off with an intensity that immediately grabbed everyone's attention as the arena lights dimmed and the crowd roared in anticipation. The opening match featured 2 rising stars who have been circling each other for weeks, their rivalry reaching a boiling point that demanded resolution. These competitors wasted absolutely no time getting down to business, launching into a series of rapid-fire exchanges that showcased their incredible athleticism and determination to prove who truly belonged at the top of the card. Every move was executed with precision, every strike landed with purpose, and the audience fed off that energy like wildfire spreading through dry grass. The technical prowess on display during those opening minutes set the tone for everything that followed. One wrestler demonstrated incredible chain wrestling ability, transitioning seamlessly from one hold to another while the opponent countered with equal skill and determination. The back-and-forth nature of the contest kept everyone guessing about who would gain the upper hand. Neither competitor was willing to give an inch, and that stubbornness translated into some of the most exciting in-ring action fans had witnessed in recent memory. The crowd chanted for both athletes, torn between their favorites as the match escalated to new heights. As the first bout reached its climax, the action spilled outside the ring where the intensity somehow managed to increase even further. Bodies crashed into barricades, and the sound of flesh meeting unforgiving steel echoed throughout the venue. The referee's count became a secondary concern as both wrestlers prioritized inflicting maximum damage on their opponent. When they finally rolled back inside the ring, the exhaustion was evident on their faces, but the fire in their eyes burned brighter than ever. The finishing sequence came out of nowhere, a sudden burst of offense that caught everyone off guard and resulted in a pinfall that left half the audience celebrating while the other half sat in stunned disbelief. The second segment of the evening shifted gears entirely, introducing a storyline that had been building for several weeks and was finally coming to a head. The tension backstage had been simmering, and now it boiled over in front of the entire world. A confrontation erupted between 2 factions who had been trading verbal jabs and physical attacks, each side convinced of their superiority and determined to prove it beyond any shadow of doubt. The promo exchange was electric, with cutting words flying back and forth like verbal daggers designed to wound pride and provoke reaction. Management attempted to maintain order, but it became clear that only a match could settle the score between these heated rivals. What happened next took everyone by surprise as a third party emerged from the shadows to stake their claim in this ongoing dispute. This newcomer brought a fresh perspective and a hungry attitude that instantly changed the dynamic of the entire situation. The crowd erupted at this unexpected development, sensing that the landscape of WWE Evolve had just shifted dramatically. Alliances that seemed solid suddenly appeared fragile, and loyalties were questioned as everyone tried to figure out where this wild card fit into the bigger picture. The segment ended with a challenge being issued, one that promised violence and vindication in equal measure. The women's division took center stage next, and what a statement these incredible athletes made. The match featured competitors who brought completely different styles to the ring, creating a fascinating contrast that made for compelling viewing. One wrestler relied on power and aggression, using strength to overwhelm opponents and dictate the pace of the match. The other depended on speed and technical skill, darting around the ring and targeting specific body parts to weaken the larger opponent. This clash of styles created a chess match inside the squared circle, with each woman trying to impose their will and force the other to fight their type of match. The psychology on display was exceptional as both competitors told a story through their actions rather than just executing moves. Every hold had purpose, every strike targeted a specific area, and the selling made every moment feel genuine and important. When the powerhouse landed a devastating slam, you felt the impact through the screen. When the technical specialist locked in a submission hold, you could see the pain etched across her opponent's face. This wasn't just wrestling, it was storytelling at its finest, and the audience appreciated every second of it. The near falls came fast and furious as the match built toward its conclusion, each one more convincing than the last. The finish came after a sequence that left everyone breathless. A reversal led to a counter which was itself reversed, creating a dizzying display of athleticism and ring awareness that few could match. When the final pin was counted, both women had earned the respect of everyone watching, regardless of who walked away with the victory. The post-match show of sportsmanship added a layer of class to the proceedings, but the intensity in both women's eyes suggested this rivalry was far from over. The seeds were planted for future encounters that promised to be just as thrilling as what we had just witnessed. The middle portion of the show featured a segment that addressed the controversial finish from the previous episode. Footage was shown highlighting the questionable tactics that led to one wrestler claiming victory, sparking outrage among fans and competitors alike. The accused party came out to defend their actions, insisting that everything they did was perfectly legal and that the complaints were simply sour grapes from sore losers who couldn't handle being outsmarted. This explanation did nothing to calm the angry crowd, who let their feelings be known with a chorus of disapproval that shook the building to its foundation. The situation escalated quickly when the aggrieved party stormed out to confront the person they felt had cheated them out of a hard-earned victory. Security attempted to keep them separated, but the passion and anger proved too much to contain. A brawl erupted that required multiple officials to break up, and even then, both parties continued trying to get at each other. The segment ended with a major announcement that a rematch would take place under special stipulations designed to prevent any shenanigans or controversial finishes. The stipulation added significant stakes to the encounter and guaranteed that when these two met again, there would be a definitive winner with no room for debate or excuses. The tag team division showcased its depth in the next match, with two teams who had been climbing the ranks finally getting their opportunity to shine on a major platform. Both teams brought incredible chemistry and coordination, hitting tandem moves with precision timing that only comes from hours of practice and natural synchronization. The pace was frantic, with tags happening rapidly and fresh wrestlers constantly entering the fray to maintain a high level of intensity. The crowd appreciated the teamwork on display, chanting their approval as both teams pushed each other to their absolute limits. One team utilized a more traditional approach, working over a single opponent and cutting off the ring to prevent tags. The other team relied on high-flying maneuvers and quick tags to keep their opponents off balance and unable to mount sustained offense. This strategic contrast made for fascinating viewing as each team tried to impose their game plan while disrupting their opponent's strategy. The referee had to work overtime keeping track of legal participants and preventing interference, adding another layer of complexity to an already chaotic situation. When the finish finally came, it resulted from a spectacular combination move that brought the entire audience to their feet in appreciation. The penultimate segment featured a sit-down interview with one of WWE Evolve's most controversial figures. This competitor had been making bold claims and backing them up with impressive performances, but their attitude had rubbed many people the wrong way. The interviewer pressed them on their methods and questioned whether their approach was sustainable in the long term. The responses were defiant and unapologetic, with the wrestler doubling down on their philosophy and insisting that results speak louder than words or popularity. They issued an open challenge to anyone who disagreed with their methods, inviting them to step up and try to prove them wrong inside the ring. This challenge was immediately answered by a returning veteran who had been away dealing with an injury but was now cleared for action and ready to remind everyone why they were considered one of the best in the business. The confrontation between the brash newcomer and the respected veteran crackled with tension as two different generations and philosophies collided. Neither was willing to back down, and their heated exchange promised that when they finally locked up in the ring, something special was going to happen. The announcement was made that this match would headline the next major show, giving both competitors time to prepare for what would surely be a defining moment in both their careers. The main event lived up to its billing and then some, delivering a contest that will be talked about for years to come. The championship implications added weight to every move, and both competitors understood that this was their moment to either cement their legacy or begin climbing back toward another opportunity. The opening minutes saw both wrestlers feeling each other out, showing mutual respect while also searching for any weakness to exploit. As the match progressed, the respect gave way to raw determination as each wrestler dug deep into their arsenal looking for the move that would secure victory. The champion demonstrated exactly why they held the title, showcasing a complete skill set that blended power, technique, and cunning. Every time the challenger mounted a fence, the champion found a way to cut them off and regain control. But the challenger refused to stay down, kicking out of moves that had finished other opponents and continuing to fight back with an intensity that impressed everyone watching. The crowd split their support, creating a deafening wall of noise that pushed both competitors to reach even higher levels of performance. This was wrestling at its absolute finest, two world-class athletes leaving everything in the ring. The finish came after a grueling 25-minute war that saw both wrestlers kick out of multiple finishing maneuvers. The false finishes had the crowd in a frenzy, believing each pin attempt might be the one to end the match. When the actual finish came, it resulted from a sequence that neither wrestler had shown before, a desperation move born from exhaustion and pure will to win. The 3 counts seemed to take forever, and when the referee's hand hit the mat for the final time, the reaction was explosive. The result shocked many who had expected a different outcome, and the implications for the championship picture were immediately clear. The show concluded with a statement from the victor that set up future challenges and promised even more excitement in the weeks to come. Rivals watched from backstage with calculating eyes, already planning their approaches and strategies. The final image was of the championship being held high above the winner's head as pyrotechnics exploded and the crowd gave a standing ovation for everything they had witnessed. WWE Evolve had delivered once again, giving fans a show that exceeded expectations and left them hungry for more. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to stay updated on all the incredible action and dramatic developments that are sure to unfold as this amazing journey continues.